Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am super excited for you all. Thank you so much to the 4 new subscribers that I got since the last video that I put out. I am so grateful. Thank you for joining the family, and if you're new here, please do well to subscribe to this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I am very passionate about, and that is volunteering. It's not just about volunteering, it's about volunteering the right way. I've been a very passionate volunteer for the last 6 years, and I volunteered in various capacities even when I had no idea what the benefits of volunteering were. I volunteered for several events, and even currently I still volunteer. I have had a lot of experiences. I have learned a lot of things through volunteering. I have also worked with volunteers, while executing projects, and I have seen people who volunteer wrongly. I've seen people who volunteer the right way, and I want to share with you some of the things you should know about volunteering, especially for those of you who are either in the early stages of your career and you're looking for volunteering opportunities, or you're currently a senior level person who still wants to volunteer but you want to understand the best way to volunteer. Continue watching this video and learn how to volunteer the right way. The first thing you should know when you're volunteering is to understand your motivation. Everybody volunteers for different reasons. There are several reasons why people choose to volunteer. It could be because you're very passionate about giving back to the community. It could be because you want to hone a new skill that you've gained, or you even want to learn new skills. It could be because you want to network with people, maybe the people who are organizing that program or who run that initiative. It could be because you want free tickets to attend an event. It's important that before you even start volunteering for any initiative, any organization, any event, that you ask yourself, why are you volunteering? What are your motives for volunteering? Across all these motivations I've mentioned, I have volunteered with all of them in mind. I have had situations where I volunteered because I wanted free tickets to an event. I have volunteered because I wanted to learn a new skill. I wanted to hone a new skill. It's just important that you're honest to yourself. There are also times when you have no motive at all, especially for people who are just starting out in volunteering. You might just be doing it because your friends are doing it. You might just be doing it just because you like that event and you just feel like helping out. Sometimes you're not even giving it a lot of thoughts. Some volunteering opportunities also fall on your laps, maybe because people know how good you are at something and they feel like you can be very helpful in running that project or running that initiative, and then they invite you and bring you on board. I've had situations where that happened to me as well, where someone sees how good I was at executing something and they're like, oh, we're running this, can you come and join us as a volunteer? And I say yes. So sometimes we don't really give it a lot of thoughts, but it's also important that the ones that you can control, the ones that you can manage, that you sit down and think about it. Why are you volunteering? What are your motivations? Having decided your motivation, the second thing you should do is to check out for the right courses. So depending on what your motivations are, let's say you're a tech person and your motivation is to learn a new tech skill, or you want to hone or have experience in a certain skill you're currently learning. You have to start thinking, which kind of organizations would need someone that have this kind of my skills to come and join them. Sometimes volunteering opportunities don't fall on your lap. You don't just see them randomly. You have to follow those organizations. If there are organizations you know that have volunteers and you would want to volunteer with them one day, go on social media, follow them on social media. It also helps to tell some people in your network to tell you if there are opportunities for volunteering they come across. It's usually helpful that you also let them know the kind of courses you're looking for. I get a couple of messages from people, telling me that they want to volunteer, and the questions are usually not very streamlined. If you want to ask somebody to help you out with volunteering opportunities, it goes a long way if you can go ahead and tell that person that these are the kind of volunteering opportunities you're looking for. You're looking for tech events where program managers might be needed, or you tell them that you're looking for non-profit organizations that do things related to education because your passion is around education, right? So it's important that after you determine your motivation, you also go a step further to think about the kind of causes you would want to volunteer for. There are people who like to do things around refugee, displaced people. Some people are very passionate about women, anything that has to do with advocacy for women. Some people are very passionate about causes that has to do with children. Some are even very passionate about animals. You have to think about, what are you passionate about? What kind of causes do you think that you're going to be able to pursue? And then you look out for the opportunities that fall into those areas. The next thing you have to do is to ascertain your skills and your availability. This is very important because I see people who volunteer for more than one initiative and give themselves haphazardly across all of them. It's important that you determine your availability. If you're a 9-to-5 person who has just a little bit of time in their hands, you have to look for opportunities that can allow you to volunteer for the amount of hours you have. Thankfully, in most volunteering opportunities, they are usually very open to ask you, how many hours do you think you can commit to this cause? Don't overpromise and under-deliver. If you have only 2 hours in a week or 3 hours in a week or 4, depending, be clear on that. Also be clear on the skills that you bring to the table. You don't just tick all the skills, program management, software engineering and everything, only for you to get there and then you want the people to train you. Remember that volunteering is not an internship. In as much as a lot of times you're going to hone skills, you're going to learn from whether your fellow volunteers or even the organizers of the programs, it's also important that you come in with a little bit of knowledge on that skill set, because you're coming to give back. And if you don't have any skills in the first place, what do you even have to give in the first place before the nurturing that could come as a result of that giving? So you have to hone some skills, no matter how little they may be, and be very, very honest about the skills you have. Don't overbloat. This is not a job employment where you overbloat your CV with experiences that you don't even have. This is volunteering. Make the job easy for the organizers of the program or the founders of the company or whatever institution where you're volunteering. Make the work easier for them. Be clear on your availability, be clear on your skills and expertise. The next point, stay reliable and consistent. I have seen a number of times where people volunteer for either events or programs and just go AWOL. Nobody hears from them and there is no communication on their part, right? If you have committed as a volunteer, volunteering means a commitment to do something, right, in return for nothing. You're volunteering, you're giving your time, you're giving your skills for no rewards, no financial rewards. So be consistent and reliable to deliver the things that you've promised to deliver. My preferred approach to volunteering is to volunteer like it's a job that you were contracted to do. Don't look at it as just volunteering, therefore you can decide not to do the things that were assigned to you without telling the people managing you why you're unable to do it. That is not the way to volunteer. When you're volunteering for a cause, give it your all. Deliver on your tasks, make impact in the little way that you can. And if there is any reason at all why you're unable to do the task that has been assigned to you, ensure to communicate it to your supervisors. Treat your volunteering jobs like they belong to you. It's your job, it's your role. You weren't forced to do it. You volunteered your time. Nobody coerced you to do it. Therefore, when you're volunteering, volunteer with passion, volunteer with zeal. Don't let people pursue you around. Let your supervisors not have you as another burden in the organization. Don't be another name on the form for them. Be consistent on delivering the value that you're volunteering for. The fifth point now is that you have to be open to learning. As a volunteer, a lot of times some of us are already bringing in our own skills. But even as you're bringing the skills, open up your heart to learn it, especially if your motivation for volunteering is to hone new skills or to have experience in a skill that you already have. Come with an open mind, willing to learn. There are going to be many learning opportunities. Sometimes it's not going to be a Zoom webinar where you're going to be taught what to do. It's mostly going to be coming as feedback, and that is where you should be paying attention to. When you do any job as a volunteer, try to get feedback from your supervisors. Try to get that feedback. It's very important. That is how you grow. If you continue to work as a volunteer and no feedback is coming, nobody commends your work or at least criticizes what you do, you have to ask for it. Tell them that you need some comments on the things that you have delivered. Now, after all is said and done, you've volunteered, you've delivered, you've received feedback. The next thing you have to do is to reflect. Apart from the reflection you do on your own at home or anywhere, you also need to share some of those reflections online. I am always an advocate of building in public. When you volunteer for a cause, you were able to deliver impact. Reflect on the impact that you deliver to that organization, but also make some parts of that impact public. Another thing to also do when you're done volunteering is to seek for recommendation from your supervisors. Let them offer you a final feedback in the form of recommendation. It could be a LinkedIn recommendation, or if you're someone who wants to take a longer bet, you might hold off on recommendation now and hold off for some time in the future when maybe you need a referee or you need a recommendation letter for an admission or for something or an opportunity in the future. The most important thing is that you have to be keen on delivering value. Your supervisors are not going to write you a recommendation if you did your job or your task haphazardly. And remember that sometimes these supervisors are in places of authority where you may not even be aware of. I know that when you're volunteering, your ultimate goal is not for you to get connections, but at the end of the day, you are actually networking with people who may be privy to certain opportunities that you don't have. That's one of the reasons why you have to be diligent in delivering the value that you have promised to deliver, so that in the future, if there's any reason for you to require a recommendation, you wouldn't have blocked the door to the person who is meant to write you a recommendation. And remember that recommendation letters are meant to be true. If you did not deliver impact, your supervisor is not going to be lying in your recommendation letter saying that you impacted their organization when you did not make any impact. Don't go and volunteer and give headache to the employers or to your supervisors, or just because you want to have the name of an organization or the name of a particular event on your profile. Make sure that in addition to every volunteering effort that you give, that you make impact in those organizations, that you leave some footprints in the sand of that organization or that event, that they will always remember you for your good work. Remember that the first thing I mentioned was that you have to have motive for every volunteering effort. Don't volunteer for every event. Anyone in the health sector, you're there. Female sector, you're there. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're there. Tech ecosystem, you're there. Streamline the events, the courses that you're really interested in, and deliver value. It is also a very good way to build your experience, even work experience. Most of the work experiences I got as a community manager started as a volunteer, and it was what helped me in eventually landing a job. So when you're volunteering, volunteer like it is a contract you're being paid to do, and be very clear on the availability that you have. And lastly, don't fail to deliver on your promise. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question regarding volunteering, please leave your questions as comments in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.